Okay, hopefully before you watch this video, you open that list of perfect squares. If you haven't, go back, put that bit.ly into Google, and you have a list of perfect squares, because unfortunately I cannot list them all out on my whiteboard. So you're going to need to have them next to you, so this makes a little bit more sense. We will start with some perfect squares written here, but just the basics. Should not have erased them from the last video. I know, I have the dumb. In my defense, it's Friday evening. I have not worked out yet. My brain is iffy. 8 squared equals 64. Okay, here's a list of perfect squares. We'll try to work within this, but I might use a couple found on your list just to make you work for it. So, we're going to take a perfect square that is not one of these. We're not going to take a perfect square. We're going to take a number that is not one of these. So previously in the last video, I took the square root of 16, square root of 36, square root of 25. Those are perfect squares. You can look in your head and be like, ah, yes, it is 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to look at numbers that are not here. So, for instance, let's do 12. The square root of, oh, that's right, you're a little farther over. How far over can I get without going off the screen? Perfect. Let's take the square root of 12. Now, if you look over here, you'll notice that 12 is not one of my perfect squares. So, to estimate this by head, on an ISAT, they require you to do this. They take away your calculator, they don't give you one. You have to do it in your head. You're going to choose the 2 perfect squares it lies between. So, look on your list. What 2 perfect squares does 12 lie between? Hopefully you said these 2. 12 goes between 9 and 16, right? So we know that square root of 9 is on this side, square root of 16 is on this side. Now what is the square root of 9? 3. What is the square root of 16? 4. So the square root of 12 is going to lie somewhere in between. It's going to be 3 point something. Can't be bigger than 4 because 12 is not bigger than 16. And it can't be less than 3 because 12 is bigger than 9. So it falls right in between 3. So it's going to be 3 point something. So we already know. 3 point something. Now to get even closer to it, which they will require on the ISAT, you're going to figure out how far away is 12 from 9. Hopefully you can tell me it's 3 away. How far away is it from 16? It is 4 away. Okay? This is very important. Unless it's equal distance away, it can't be 3.5. It just can't be, right? It can be very close. So because it's closer to this side, it's not going to be above 0.5. If it was closer to this side, it would be. But it's lower, so it's below 0.5. So what I'm trying to say is, if your square root here is closer to the lower side, it's below 0.5. If it's closer to the higher side, it's above 0.5. And if it's right in between, it's 0.5. In this case, it's lower, but not by a lot. So my guess, and these are guesses, is going to be about 3.4. You want to get a little more accurate, you could say 3.45. Have some fun with it, okay? But make sure that your guesses are pretty close. Okay? Keep all these factors in mind. So we're going to do a couple more to that effect because the main goal of this lesson really is how to estimate square roots and really how to understand how they work. Whew, sorry, my heart is racing. Should not have caffeine. Tomorrow's lesson is going to be how we use square roots typically, most commonly. So let's take another number. Let's say the square root of, let's have some fun, let's say 44. Okay? So go down your list here. Square root of 44 lies in between what 2? Hopefully you say 6 and 7. Okay, square root of 44 is bigger than 36, but it is less than 49. So, square root of 36 is 6. Square root of 49 is 7. Okay? So now I know that it's going to lie between 6 and 7, so it's going to be a 6 point something. Not sure what yet, though. Ah, you can see it. Awesome. So we figure out how far away are they. 36 and 44 are exactly 8 apart. 44 and 49 are 5 apart. So remember what I talked about last time? If it is closer to the big number, you go above 0.5. If it's closer to the small number, below 0.5. So in this case, it's above 0.5 because it is closer to the 49. 5 is less than 8. So I know it's above 0.5. How much is it above 0.5? There's a bigger gap here between 3 and 4. So I'm going to say it's about 3.7. You can get super technical if you want and figure out what fraction it is away if you want. I mean, it's what? 13 apart, so it is 5/13 away if you want to get crazy with it. But this is assuming you don't have a calculator handy, so you can't figure what decimal 1/13 is. Sorry. This is a good guess. Okay, somewhere in this range. That's what you're looking for. Really somewhere above 6.5 because it's closer to 49. That's good. Let's do one more, and this one I'm going to have you look on your perfect squares list for. For a second I thought the video wasn't running. I was like, no, I don't have the time to read to. Okay, we're going to choose one above your perfect squares that I've listed here. So go to your perfect squares list. We're going to take the square root of 130. Okay? I want you to look in your squares list, pause this video. I want you to find the two perfect squares this lies between. Hopefully you paused me in my gap I gave you to pause me in, and you found the two. So, hopefully, since I can't ask your responses, you figured out the square root of 130 lies between the square root of 121. The square root of 121 is 11. And it lies between the square root of 144. 144's square root of 144 is 12. 11 squared is 121. 12 squared is 144. So, we know that it's going to be 11 point something. Can you see that? You can. Awesome. So, 130 is 9 away from 121, and 130 is 14 away from 144. So, we are closer to the lower ones. We're below 0.5. There's about a 5 difference in between. That's pretty big. So I'm going to say it's about 11.3. Let's do that. 11.2 would work as well. 11.4 would work, but we're getting kind of iffy because this is definitely not even at all. So 11.3, 11.2, those would be good guesses. Hopefully you understand what we're doing. If you don't, please come to office hours. I would love to assist you in this because this is an awesome parlor trick. Stay tuned for how to do this on your calculator next.